Hello, horror fans. Today I've got a seriously creepy story for you that deserve your full attention. But before we dive in, I want to invite you to join our little dark corner on this YouTube channel where I post content about horror stories and various creepypastas, and every now and then a surprise or two. Now get comfortable, turn off the lights if you dare, and let's get to it. Hope you enjoy. Sunday. I don't know why I decided to write this by hand instead of on the computer. Maybe it's because lately everything feels off to me. It's not that I distrust technology, but I need to organize my thoughts into something tangible, onto a medium that can't be erased or altered. It's not that anything specific has happened, but everything is blurry, and the fog of memory tints reality with an unsettling hue. This tiny apartment is starting to suffocate me. Maybe that's the problem, just my luck to choose the only basement unit available. The cheapest one. No windows, so day and night blur together. I've been cooped up for days, buried in my programming project. I thought I wanted to finish it as soon as possible. I know staring at a screen for hours can drive anyone crazy, but I don't think that's it. I couldn't even say when I first noticed something was strange, and I still don't know what it is. Maybe I just need to talk to someone. That was the first thing that bothered me. All my usual contacts were inactive or hadn't even logged on. My messages unanswered. The last email I got was yesterday from a friend. He said he'd call me when he got back from the store. I tried to call him from my cell, but down here the reception is terrible. Yeah, that's it. I just need to call someone. I'm going to step outside. Well, that plan failed. The tingle of fear fades, and I'm almost embarrassed I was scared. Before going out, I looked in the mirror, but didn't shave my 2-day stubble. After all, it was just going to be a quick call. Though I did change my shirt just in case I ran into someone I knew around lunchtime. That didn't happen though, and that bothered me. When I opened the door to my little apartment, I did it slowly. An inexplicable foreboding had already settled in me. I chalked it up to the days without talking to anyone but myself. I poked my head out into the gray, gloomy hallway, made even gloomier by being in a basement. At the far end, a large metal door led to the building's boiler, locked of course. Next to it, 2 sad, forgotten vending machines. The first day I bought a can, but it had expired 2 years prior. I'm pretty sure no one even knows they're there, or my miserly landlady can't be bothered to restock them. I walked silently toward the other end, not making a sound. I don't know why, but it was fun giving in to that impulse not to break the monotonous hum of the machines, even for a moment. I reached the landing and went up to the front door. I peeked through the small square peephole of the heavy door and felt a genuine shock. It certainly wasn't midday. Outside, the dark street was shrouded in the city's blackness, and the traffic lights at the distant intersection blinked yellow. The sky was covered in murky, violet-black clouds, lit by the urban glow. Nothing moved except for a few trees swaying in the wind. I remember shivering, even though it wasn't cold. Was it the wind from outside? Through the metal door, I could hear it faintly, that special night wind, constant, cold, and silent, except for the rhythmic music it made filtering through the invisible leaves of the trees. I decided not to go out. Instead, I pressed my phone against the peephole's glass to check the signal. The bar filled up, and I smiled. Finally, I was going to hear a human voice. How strange, I thought with relief. There's nothing to fear. I shook my head, laughing at myself. I dialed my best friend Emmy's number on speed dial and put the phone to my ear. It rang once, then cut off. Silence. I listened to the void for a long 20 seconds. I hung up. Frowning, I checked the signal again. Still full. I was about to dial again when the phone vibrated in my hand, startling me. I brought it to my ear. "Hello?" I asked, holding back the slight shock of hearing a voice even if it was my own, after days of silence. I'd already gotten used to the constant hum of the boiler, the computer, and the machines in the hallway. At first, there was no response, but then a voice came through. "Hey," said a clear male voice, sounding like a student my age. "Who's this?" I stammered. "John," he replied. "Oh, sorry, wrong number," he said and hung up. I lowered the phone slowly and leaned against the thick brick wall of the landing. Strange. I checked the incoming call log. It was an unknown number. Before I could process it, the phone rang loudly, startling me again. This time I looked at the screen before answering. Another unknown number. I didn't say anything when I picked up, just heard the usual background noise. Then, a familiar voice broke the silence. "John," she said, in Emmy's voice. I let out the air I was holding with relief. "Hello? Is that you?" I answered. "Who else would it be?" But the number... "I'm at a party on 7th Street and my phone died right when you called. This is a friend's." "Oh, right," I said. "Where are you?" she asked. My eyes scanned the desolate cement block walls and the heavy metal door with its small window. "At my building," I sighed. "I feel trapped. I didn't realize how late it was." "You should come," she said, laughing. "I don't feel like hunting down some unknown place at midnight," I said, glancing at the windy street that secretly scared me. "I think I'll keep working and then crash." "Nonsense," she replied. "I can swing by and get you. Your place isn't far from 7th Street, is it?" "Are you drunk?" I asked without real concern. "You know where I live?" "Oh, right," she said abruptly. "I guess you can't exactly walk it." "You could if you felt like walking half an hour," I said. "True." "Well, I gotta go. Good luck with the work." I lowered the phone again, watching the digits blink as the call ended. The monotonous silence rushed back into my ears. Those two strange calls and the terrifying street beyond the door only deepened my loneliness in that empty landing. Maybe because I'd watched too many horror movies, an irrational thought hit me. Someone could be looking through that peephole and seeing me. Some horrible entity lurking at the edges of solitude, waiting to close in on the unwary who've strayed too far from others. I knew the fear was irrational, but there was no one around, so I bounded down the stairs, crossed the hallway to my room, and shut the door as fast as I could, but silently. Like I said, I almost laugh at being afraid of something that doesn't exist, and the fear is already gone. Writing this helps a lot. I know nothing bad is happening. It filters out half-formed thoughts and fears, leaving only cold, irrefutable facts. It's late. I got a call from an unknown number, and Emmy's phone died, so she called me back from another one. Nothing strange. And yet, there was something slightly off about that conversation. It could have been the alcohol, or that she sounded weird to me. Or it was... yes, that. I hadn't realized it until now, until I started writing. I knew writing would help. She said she was at a party, but on the other end, I only heard silence. Sure, it doesn't mean anything. She could have stepped outside to call. No, that doesn't work either. I didn't hear the wind. I had to check if it was still blowing. Monday. I forgot to finish writing last night. I don't know what I expected to see when I ran upstairs and looked through the peephole of the heavy door, feeling like an idiot. Yesterday's fear now seems hazy and unjustified. I'm dying to get out into the sunlight. I'm going to check my email, shave, shower, and finally get out of here. Wait, I think I heard something. Thunder. My plan for sun and fresh air went out the window. I went out to the landing and up the stairs, only to be disappointed. The peephole in the door only showed sheets of water, a torrential downpour. Through the rain, only a very dim, gloomy light filtered through. But at least I knew it was daytime, even if it was gray, sickly, and wet. I tried to look through, hoping a lightning bolt would illuminate the darkness, but the rain was so heavy I couldn't make out more than vague shapes moving at odd angles through the waves streaming down the glass. Disappointed, I turned around, but I didn't want to go back to my room. Instead, I went up past the first and second floors. The stairs ended at the third, the topmost one. I looked through the glass of the exterior wall, but it was that thick, distorted glass that bends light, and you could barely see anything. I opened the landing door and walked down the hall. Half a dozen wooden doors, painted blue, were shut. I listened as I walked, but it was broad daylight, so I wasn't surprised to hear nothing but the rain. Standing in the dim hallway, listening to the rain, a strange impression hit me. Those doors looked like granite monoliths, erected by some ancient civilization for some inscrutable purpose. A flash of lightning lit up the place, and I could have sworn that, for a moment, the old grainy blue wood resembled rough stone. I laughed at myself for letting my imagination run wild. But then I remembered that the twilight and the lightning meant there was a window somewhere in the hallway. A vague memory surfaced of a nook on the 3rd floor with a recessed window. Excited by the possibility of looking out into the rain and maybe seeing someone, I quickly approached the nook, finding a thinner pane of glass. Rain streamed down it, but it could be opened. I reached out to slide it, but I hesitated. I had the strangest feeling that if I opened that window, I would see something absolutely horrible on the other side. Everything has been so strange lately that I hatched a plan and went back for what I needed. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm bored. It's raining and I'm going stir crazy from inactivity. I went and got my webcam. The cable wouldn't reach the 3rd floor, so I'll hide it between the 2 vending machines in the dark end of the basement hallway. I'll run the cable along the wall under my door and secure it with black electrical tape so it blends in with the baseboard. I know it's stupid, but I have nothing better to do. Well, nothing happened. I wedged the landing door open, mustered my courage, flung the heavy front door wide open, and, as if I'd been burned, ran down the stairs to my room and slammed the door shut. I looked at the camera feed on my computer. I could see the hallway beyond my door and most of the landing. I'm looking at it right now and I don't see anything interesting. Too bad the angle doesn't let me see what happens beyond the front door. Hey, someone logged on. I dug an older, less functional webcam out of the closet to video chat with a friend. I couldn't quite explain why I wanted to video call, but it was nice to see a human face. He couldn't talk long, and we didn't discuss anything important, but I felt much better. My strange fear was almost gone. I would have felt completely fine, but there was something weird about our conversation. I know I've said everything seems strange to me, but he was very vague in his answers. I don't remember anything specific he said, not a name, a place, or an event, but he did ask for my email to keep in touch. Wait, I just got an email. I'm going to head out. An email from Emmy asking me to meet for dinner at our usual spot. I love pizza. The last few days, I've been eating whatever I could find in my nearly empty fridge, so I'm really looking forward to it. Again, I feel ridiculous about these strange days. I have to destroy this diary when I get back. Oh, another email. God, I almost closed my email and opened the door. I almost opened it, but I read it first. It was from a friend I hadn't heard from in a while, sent to a bunch of addresses. No subject, just said, if you've seen it with your own eyes, don't believe them. What the hell does that mean? Those words hit me, and I read them over and over. It's a desperate message, sent right when something happened, cut off mid-sentence. Any other day I would have taken it for spam, a virus or something, but those words, seen with your own eyes. I reread the diary, go over the last few days, and realize I haven't seen anyone with my own eyes or spoken to anyone face to face. The video call with my friend was so strange, so vague, so unsettling. Was it unsettling, or is fear clouding my memory? My mind plays with the sequence of events I've written, pointing out that I haven't been presented with any fact that I didn't inadvertently let slip myself. The wrong number call that knew my name, and the subsequent strange call from Emmy. The friend who asked for my email. I was the one who messaged him first when I saw him online, and then I received the first email minutes after that conversation. My God, that call from Emmy. I told her I was half an hour from 7th Street. They know I'm close. What if they're trying to find me? Where is everybody? Why haven't I seen or heard anyone in days? No, this is madness. I need to calm down. This insanity has to stop. I don't know what to think. I paced furiously around the apartment, holding my phone up to every corner to see if I could get a signal. Finally, in the tiny bathroom near the ceiling, I caught a bar. Holding it up there, I sent a text to all my contacts. Without wanting to reveal my unfounded fears, I just wrote, "Have any of you seen anyone face to face lately?" At that moment, I just wanted any kind of answer. I didn't care how it looked or if I humiliated myself. I tried calling several times, but I couldn't stretch my arm far enough. If I lowered the phone even an inch, I lost the signal. Then I remembered the computer and ran to it, sending instant messages to everyone who was online. Most were idle or away. No one responded. My messages grew more desperate. I started telling people where I was, asking them to come over with any excuse, no matter how far-fetched. By that point, I didn't care anymore. I just needed to see another human being. I also searched the entire apartment for something I could use, some way to contact someone without opening the door. I know it's crazy, I know it's irrational, but what if? What if? I just need to be sure. I taped my phone to the ceiling just in case. Tuesday. The phone rang. Exhausted from yesterday's stress, I must have fallen asleep. The call woke me up. I ran to the bathroom, climbed onto the toilet, and peeled the phone off the ceiling. It was Emmy, and I felt much better. She was really worried and, according to her, had been trying to reach me since our last call. She's already on her way. And yes, she knows where I live, even though I didn't tell her. How embarrassing. I'll definitely toss this diary before anyone sees it. I don't even know why I'm writing now. Maybe because it's the only communication I've had in who knows how long. I look terrible. I looked in the mirror before coming back here. Sunken eyes, thicker beard, and generally sickly looking. My apartment is a mess, but I'm not cleaning it. I think I need someone to see what I've been through. These last few days haven't been normal. I'm not the type to make things up. I know I've been a victim of extreme coincidence. I'm sure I crossed paths with other people dozens of times. It was just bad luck. I went out later in the middle of the afternoon when everyone was leaving. Everything is fine. I know that now. Besides, last night I found something in the closet that helped a lot. A television. I set it up right before writing this, and it's working in the background. Television has always been my escape. It reminds me there's a whole world beyond these brick walls. I'm glad Emmy was the only one who responded to my desperate messages. She's been my best friend for many years. She doesn't know it, but the day I met her is one of the few truly happy moments of my life. I remember that summer day fondly. It seems like another reality compared to this dark, rainy, lonely place. I think I spent days sitting in that playground, already too old to play, just talking to her and hanging out. I still feel like I can go back to that moment, and it reminds me that this godforsaken place isn't everything. Finally, knocks on the door. I thought it was strange I didn't see her through the camera I hid between the machines. I figured it was because of the bad angle, like when I couldn't see what was happening beyond the front door. I should have known. After the knocks, jokingly, I yelled through the door that I had a camera between the machines because I was embarrassed by how far my paranoia had gone. Then I saw her image approach the camera and look it up and down. She smiled and waved. "Hey," she said cheerfully to the camera with an ironic look. "I know, it's weird," I said into the computer's mic. "I've had a few strange days." "You sure have," she replied. "Open the door, John." I hesitated. How could I be sure? "Hey, hold on a second," I said into the mic. "Tell me something about us, something only we know. Prove it's you." She looked at the camera with a puzzled expression. Okay, she said slowly, thinking. "We met by chance in a playground when we were both too old to be there." I took a deep breath and reality came back. The fear dissipated. God, how ridiculous I'd been. Of course it was Emmy. That day didn't exist anywhere in the world except in my memory. I'd never mentioned it to anyone, not out of embarrassment, but because of the strange intimacy of nostalgia. If some unknown force was trying to deceive me, it couldn't have known that. "Okay, I'll explain everything," I told her. Opening up now. I ran to the bathroom and fixed my hair as best I could. I looked terrible, but she would understand. Laughing at my own behavior and the chaos I'd created, I walked to the door. I put my hand on the knob and took one last look at the mess. How ridiculous, I thought. My gaze swept over the half-eaten food on the floor, the overflowing trash can, and the overturned bed. I almost turned the knob, but my eyes landed on the last object. The old webcam, the one I'd used for the unsettling video call with my friend. Its black sphere lay abandoned, its lens pointed at the table where this diary sat. A wave of utter dread washed over me as I realized that if something could see through that camera, it had also seen what I'd just written about that day. I'd asked it to tell me something about us, and it had chosen the one thing in the world I believed they, or it, didn't know. But it did know. It could have been watching me this entire time. I didn't open the door. I screamed. I screamed with uncontrollable terror. I smashed the old camera to the floor. The door shook and the knob tried to turn, but I didn't hear Emmy's voice on the other side. Was the basement door too thick, or was Emmy not outside at all? What was trying to get in if it wasn't her? What the hell is out there? I saw her on the computer through the camera. I heard her through the mic. But was she real? How can I know? It left. I screamed for help. I barricaded the door with everything I had in the apartment. Friday. At least I think it's Friday. I destroyed all the electronics, smashed the computer to pieces, everything that could be accessible through the network or, worse, manipulated. I'm a programmer. I know this. Every crumb of information I've let slip since this started. My name, my email, my location. Nothing came from outside until I let it out. I read over what I've written again and again. I pace back and forth, alternating between horror and disbelief. Sometimes I'm sure a phantom entity is determined to get me to come out. I go back to the beginning, to Emmy's call. She was effectively asking me to open the door and come out. I run it through my head again. On one hand, I've been acting like a madman, and it's all been a series of extreme coincidences. Never going out at the right time, never seeing anyone, receiving a nonsensical email from a computer virus at just the right moment. On the other hand, that very same extreme coincidence is the reason why whatever is out there hasn't reached me yet. I keep thinking about how I didn't open the third floor window. I didn't open the front door until that ridiculous stunt with the camera, after which I bolted back to my room and shut the door. I haven't opened my own door since I opened the building's. Whatever is out there, if there is anything, didn't appear in the building until I opened that door. Maybe the reason it wasn't inside yet was that it was somewhere else, taking everyone else. And then it waited until I gave away my existence by trying to call Emmy. A call that didn't go through until it allowed me to make it, and it asked for my name. Horror washes over me every time I try to piece this puzzle together. That email, short, truncated. Was it from someone trying to spread the word? Some friendly voice trying to warn me before it arrived? If you've seen it with your own eyes, don't believe them. Those words only reinforced my worst suspicions. It could have masterful control over everything electronic, weaving its deception to get me to come out. Why can't it just come in? It knocked on the door. It's material. The door. The image of those doors on the upper hallway, like protective monoliths, springs to mind every time I follow that line of thought. If a phantom entity is trying to get me out, maybe it can't pass through doors. I remember books or movies, searching for an explanation. Doors have always been a focus of human imagination, seen as amulets or portals of special significance. Or maybe the door is just too thick. I know I couldn't break down any of the doors in this building, let alone the heavy basement one. And then, the main question. What does it need me for? If it just wanted to kill me, it could do so in many ways, even wait for me to starve. What if it doesn't want to kill me? What if it has a much more horrible fate in store? God, what can I do to escape this nightmare? There's knocking on the door. I told the people on the other side I needed a minute to think and that I'd come out. I'm only writing this to clear my head. At least this time I heard their voices. My paranoia, and yes, I admit I'm paranoid, makes me think of all sorts of ways to fake voices with electronics. They could be speakers mimicking human voices. Did it take them 3 days to come and talk to me? Emmy is supposedly with 2 cops and a psychiatrist. Maybe it took them 3 days to invent what to say to me. The psychiatrist's argument could be convincing if I decide it was all a misunderstanding and not an entity trying to trick me. He had an old man's voice, authoritative but also caring. I liked it. I desperately want to see someone with my own eyes. He said I have something called cyberpsychosis, that I'm just one of thousands across the country who've suffered a breakdown triggered by an ambiguous email that somehow got leaked. I swear he said, somehow got leaked. I guess he means it spread inexplicably, but I suspect the entity slipped up and revealed something. He said I'm part of a wave of emergent behavior, that many have the same problem with the same fears, even though we don't know each other. That explains the strange email about eyes perfectly. I didn't get the original email, but one of its descendants. My friend might also have collapsed and tried to warn everyone he knew about his paranoid fears. That's how the problem spreads, the psychiatrist claims. I could be spreading it too with my messages to all my contacts. Someone could be going crazy right now because of something I sent, something they can interpret in 1,000 ways, like the message, "Have any of you seen anyone face to face lately?" The psychiatrist told me he didn't want to lose another one, that people like me are smart, and that's our problem. We make connections so well that we make them where they shouldn't be. He said that in this rapidly changing world, it's easy to fall into paranoia in a place where more and more of our interaction is simulated. I have to admit it's a great explanation. It explains everything perfectly. In fact, I have every reason in the world to leave behind the fear that something, some consciousness or being out there wants me to open the door to trap me in a fate worse than death. It would be foolish to think that, after hearing that explanation, I could be one of the last survivors of an empty planet, hiding in my basement, defying an unimaginable deceptive entity simply by refusing to be caught. It's the perfect explanation for every oddity I've seen or heard, and I have every reason in the world to leave all my fears behind and open the door. That's why I won't. How can I be sure? How do I know what's real and what's a deception? All these goddamn things with their cables and signals coming from an invisible source, they're not real. I can't be sure. The signals through the camera, the doctored video, the deceptive calls, the emails, even the smashed TV on the floor. How do I know they're real? They're just signals, waves, light, the door. They're forcing entry, trying to get in. What crazy mechanical contraption did they use to imitate so perfectly the sound of people attacking the wood? At least I'll finally see it with my own eyes. There's nothing left here that can deceive me. I've smashed everything else. It can't fool my eyes, can it? If you've seen it with your own eyes, don't believe them. That desperate message told me to trust my eyes. Or was it warning me about them too? My God, what's the difference between a camera and my eyes? They both convert light into electrical signals. They're the same. I can't let myself be fooled. I must be sure. I must be sure. Unknown date. Day after day, I calmly asked for paper and pen until they finally gave them to me. Not that it matters. What am I going to do? Pluck out my eyes? The bandages are now part of me. The pain is gone. I think this will be one of my last chances to write clearly, because without sight to correct mistakes, my hands will gradually forget the necessary movements. It's a kind of indulgence of my weaknesses. This is a letter. A relic from another time, because I'm sure everyone left in the world is dead or something much worse. I'm sitting, propped against the soft wall, day after day. The entity brings me food and water. It poses as a kind nurse, an indifferent doctor. I think it knows my hearing has sharpened now that I live in darkness. It stages conversations in the hallways for me to overhear. A nurse says she's going to have a baby soon. A doctor lost his wife in a car accident. None of that matters. None of that is real. None of it affects me like she does. That's the worst part, the part I can barely stand. The creature comes to me, disguised as Emmy. Her recreation is perfect. She sounds exactly like Emmy. She feels exactly like her. She even produces a credible simulation of tears that I feel on her realistic cheeks. When it first brought me here, it told me everything I wanted to hear. That it loved me, had always loved me, didn't understand why I did it, that we could still have a life together if I stopped insisting I was being deceived. It wanted me to believe. No, it needed me to believe she was real. I almost fell for it. The truth is, I doubted myself for a long time. But in the end, everything was too perfect, too flawless, and too real. The fake Emmy came every day, then every week, and finally, she stopped coming. But I don't think the entity is giving up. I think the waiting game is just another one of its tactics. I'll resist until the end of my days if necessary. I don't know what happened to the rest of the world, but I know this thing needs me to believe in its deception. If it needs that, then maybe, just maybe, I'm a thorn in its plans. Maybe Emmy is still alive, somewhere. Alive only because of my will to resist the deceiver. I cling to that hope, rocking back and forth in my cell to pass the time. I will never give in. I will never break. I am a hero. The doctor read the paper where the patient had scribbled his thoughts. The handwriting was barely legible, written by a trembling hand that couldn't see. He wanted to smile at that man's unyielding determination, a reminder of the human will to survive, but he knew the patient was completely delusional. After all, a person in their right mind would have given in to the deception long ago. The doctor wanted to smile. He wanted to whisper words of encouragement to that deceived man. He wanted to scream, but the nerve fibers surrounding his head and burrowing into his eyes forced him to act otherwise. His body, like a puppet, entered the room and once again told the patient he was wrong, that no one was trying to deceive him.